Hi everyone, welcome to From Rookie to Pro. I'm Luke, and in this series I'm taking you along a journey to improve as a Yu-Gi-Oh player by playing a variety of decks and leveling up my skill set throughout the year. Let's start with a quick introduction. I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh for nearly a decade now, but honestly I've never topped much more than a regional event. Over the past few years I've focused on judging events, but this year I'm challenging myself to really step up my game. In 2024 I spent a lot of time playing the fire decks, but I quickly realized that I wasn't winning as much because I didn't fully understand how the other decks worked. For 2025, I've set two big goals: improvement and versatility. My plan is to test a new deck every other week and bring you along for the ride. Sometimes I might revisit a deck for a specific tournament or adjust my testing schedule if the deck I'm working on just isn't ideal for that week's event. Either way, you'll see the highs and lows of my journey firsthand. Every other week, I'll post a video about the deck I've been testing, covering the deck list, its strengths and weaknesses, how to play or counter it. I'm aiming for about 15-minute videos that are informative but easy to follow. My bigger goal for 2025 is to win a regional or to make day 2 or top cut at a YCS or the EUWCQ. As I improve, I'll also improve on making these videos. If you want to follow me on the journey, please hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and drop a comment below. This week, I'm diving into a classic, Mermail. After getting some support in Rage of the Abyss, Mermail has become viable once again. It's time to take a deeper look into this deck and see if it's still as strong as it was back in the day. Mermail debuted in Abyss Rising back in 2012 and had a few periods of relevance in the competitive scene. It's typically combined with the Atlanteans, which were introduced in a structure deck a few weeks prior. These days, Mermail is a combo-heavy deck that focuses on ripping cards from your opponent's hand and setting up negates to control the game. One of the biggest strengths is that it's somewhat under the radar. A lot of players don't fully know how to interact with it, which makes it even harder to interrupt. Another major strength is its ability to OTK in just a few summons, making it much safer against cards like Nibiru. A bigger downside, on the other hand, is that the deck struggles against Dimension Shifter. If your opponent drops that, you'll often be stuck passing turn unless you can counter it with something like a Crossout Designator or Call by the Grave. For my build, I've opted for a more fairer version of the deck. I've kept it budget friendly since I mostly only be using it for locals. A different version of the deck runs an Ice Barrier engine, using the new Lancia Synchro to summon a General Ryo of the Ice Barrier, making your opponent discard a card every time they try to activate something. But I feel like the current version is more resilient, as it doesn't rely much on committing to a single line of play. Another option is to play a small Gothi engine, like Julius Schwarzkopf did to make top 8 at YCS Bologna. You can also tag in cards like Small World or Pot of Prosperity, but I've decided against that for now, though I might consider that for bigger tournaments where I have more time to prepare. Let's jump into the deck list.
Okay, so for the deck profile, we are playing 3 Neptavis, 3 Abyss Spike, 3 Atlantean Spirit, 3 Dragons, 3 Shadow Squad, 3 Abysstias, and then for the one-off fishes we play Mulinglacia, Armored Shark, Ice Jade Ren Oberon, Deep Sea Minstrel, Marksman, Heavy Infiltrate, and 1 Megalo. For the spells we play Mizuchi, we play Abyss Sting, we play 1-for-1, we play Called By, and then for the trap we played the Virtue Stream. Yep, so that's it in terms of engine. Pretty simple, pretty solid. The only thing I missed maybe was the Deep Sea King, but wasn't really needed for the events that we went to. But it might be a nice addition in the future. For the non-engine, I kept it really simple. I tweaked it towards my locals, so please adjust this to whatever you need in the future yourself. We play 3 Imperm, 3 Nip, 3 Ash, and 3 Veiler. Total to 42 cards, which is more than fine. I would not have played more. I might have played a bit less. Maybe could have bid on non-engine, maybe could have bid on engine. I'm not entirely sure what I would do in terms of how I would make it less than this. Yeah. So for the extra deck, we played 2 Toads, 2 ways to summon out Toad, being the Honing Shark, one Abyss Dweller who has mostly been in my deck to use the effect of Armored Shark to reborn at level 4 to make another Bahamut Shark. We played one Xyz Armored Fortress to search for the Armored Shark. That thing was really good. We played a Lavertu Dragon, we played Abyss Giles, and then for the new cards we played the Poseidra Abyss, which floats into 3 bodies, which bounces a couple cards. This card is genuinely very, very good. We played the Neptabyss King, which searches or equips an equip spell directly from your deck. Super niche for example, playing around Dark Ruler or other board breakers. We played an Abyss Glacia to quick on your opponent's turn, discard a card, and then search for a Mermail, but you oftentimes want to discard the Heavy Infantry or the Marksman. We played a Coral Anemone to reborn mostly the Shadow Squad. We played the Sword Soul 10, this barely came up. We played the Trishula, which was there to rip extra cards from the hand. And we played the Dragite, which I will probably cut for something because I've never made this and it barely comes up. I've had that same issue with Sword Soul a couple years ago at Nationals, but we're in the same situation again where it just barely comes up. In terms of side deck, we played 2 Sanctum, 2 Trap Trick, 2 Dimension Barrier. I didn't want to run a playset of both because I wanted like more copies of either of the 2. So let's say we play against Raziel, I wanted at least 4 Dimension Barriers. Or playing against Malice or something that required pumping out Alencia, I wanted as many Alencias as I could. So we also played 2 Thrust, which makes both of these a double playset, basically, which is super cool. Additional Thrust targets, we played the Harpy's Feather Duster, we played the Change of Heart, we played 2 Lightning Storm to break through back row boards, and we played 3 Lancia. Like I said, I want to see as many Lancias as I could, so that was a very quick rundown of the deck profile.
Now, I'll be honest. I've struggled a bit when first learning Mermails. It took me a while to get a hang of all the interactions, but after a solid day of testing and talking to friends, I started to see the synergies, and I started to see like some combos. I'm by no means a master yet, but I'm definitely starting to understand how the deck works. I've been testing my deck at the local game store's free play event on Thursday nights, just to get familiar with it. Then, on Saturday, I took it to locals, where we played 3 rounds followed by a top cut. I've noticed that the deck plays super decent going second, and really well into 1 or 2 interruptions, considering your hand is good enough. The 1-for-1 and the multiple Abyssios made extending so much easier. Round 1, I played against a pile deck with some Kashtira, Sword Soul, and Runic card. The deck looked super interesting and somewhat scary. After winning game 1, he tried to set up a board which felt more like Kashtira control, with the original Sword Soul level 10 next to it. I was surprised by Soul Levy in game 2. Soul Levy is a continuous trap card that says each time your opponent special summons a monster, send the top 3 cards from your opponent's deck to the graveyard, with the goal of decking me out. I was luckily able to finish the game before decking out. Round 2 I played against Malice, a deck I definitely want to look into in the future. I won the die roll and got to go first. I was met with an Ash Blossom on my Shadow Squad and wasn't able to extend much further. Had I played the Deep Sea King, I might have been able to do so. I ended on an Abyss Giles and paused turn. My opponent started with infinite impermanence targeting my Abyss Giles and continued to make excess code. As he was threatening lethal, I decided to activate Nibiru, but he had an extender and to keep me anyway. Game 2, I got interrupted by draw on Lockhart, which ended my turn. My opponent then wasn't able to do a whole lot himself, and as we both ended up top decking, I decided to make Abyss Glacia. He unfortunately found an extender before I did and finished the game that turn. 3 was against the Day of Elstar lore deck, and I'm going to be real, I'm not exactly sure what was going on. He ended up winning the die roll and going first. It was a really close back and forth match, which was very refreshing, but I ended up winning in the end. In top 4, I played against Heroes. Against the player who had inspired me to play Mermails this week. So that strength about not knowing what the cards do, that went out the window. Unfortunately, I don't have footage from this match, but it was safe to say that it was pretty back and forth. A Nibiru in response to a polymerization, followed by Lightning Storm and a starter, won me game 3, which led to the finals. In the finals, I faced the Menace player again. Game 1 lasted 5 minutes. I did not feel great about my chances of winning the locals. But on the other hand, I have never expected to get this far with the deck, anyways. Games 2 and 3 luckily lasted a bit longer. And we didn't see a single shifter, which meant that I was able to combo off pretty convincingly in game 2, but unfortunately wasn't able to win the third game and the set. GG, well played. Okay, so after giving Mermails a go this week, I can say that it's a pretty fun deck and it has loads of potential, but it definitely has some weaknesses. If you enjoy combo heavy decks and want to try something different, I recommend giving it a try. Thank you so much for watching, and if you do want to keep following my progress, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment with what deck you would like to see in the future. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.